Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanding Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU and chronology. That is so wrong. Anyway, today what we're going to go over is a few comic books now in the series. We're going to be sticking a lot on comic books here, and they are all written by Archie Goodwin, and they're all from the Star Wars Weekly. Now, the Star Wars Weekly were comic books that were printed and published in the UK. Over there. They have been reprinted several times in America. Wild Space, you can get a lot of these stories in, so they're very easy to get. The first one I want to talk about is called The Day After the Death Star. Now this is in Star Wars Weekly, number 97 through 99, and in this one it is, of course, the next day after the Death Star. And so Luke is taking a little victory ride in his X-Wing, right? Because he just blew up that Death Star, baby. He wants to, hotshot pilot, show off his skills some more. But unfortunately, there is a leftover TIE fighter from the battle that comes in and attacks him. I guess that TIE fighter is just running in circles the whole night. I don't know. Anyway, he chases after Luke. They both shoot each other. They knock each other down from the sky. They find each other on the planet. They're just duking it out, man. And finally, Luke gets the upper hand. And Luke gets a big rock. He's about to kill this guy. And the TIE fighter's helmet falls off. And Luke sees it's just a boy. It's just a kid, just like him. He puts a face to the enemy, the faceless enemy. And Luke goes, what's it all about? And so he puts the rock down and just walks away, leaving the slightly unconscious TIE fighter pilot on his own. And then Han and Chewie and friends, they swoop by in a speeder, pick him up and take off. Now, what happened to the TIE fighter? They just left him out there in the jungle. But interesting fact, that is not the end of the story. 20 years later, Kevin J. Anderson would write a series of books called Young Jedi Knights, and in it, he would feature an older TIE fighter pilot that got shot down and crashed on the planet. Now, he said that in his mind, that was the same pilot from this story, The Day After the Death Star. How cool is that? Now, of course, I didn't realize that. I think I was at a Q&A when Kevin J. Anderson had said that, and I was like, wait, what? And I had to go back and look over that story because I couldn't remember it. And when I did, I was like, no way, there's Quirrell, and I was so excited to have a name to the face. That it just, again, another reason why the EU is so awesome is because it has continuity marks in here from, old 80s, or dang, this may have been even from the late 70s, comic books to, 20 years later, they're putting in a young adult novel. That same thing and continuing that story. It's great. I love it. Okay, so the next one that you need to read is called The Keeper's World. Now, this was Star Wars Weekly 100, and it was written also by Roy Thomas, as well as Archie Goodwin. I don't know why Roy Thomas got on this one, but he is on that. Maybe he helped write the story with Archie Goodwin. Anyway, what it is Luke and Leia are traveling to a rebel base, and they get thrown off course because R2-D2 is still suffering some damage from his last adventure on the Death Star run. So that's how you know this one takes place a little bit early. So he's still kind of got a few short circuits up there, and he kind of malfunctions and shoots them off into this planet where they, of course, are on the run from Imperials. Make it to the planet where they meet. It's a war-torn planet. They meet 4 androids, and then who are they're the children of the Keeper. Now, the Keeper is this artificial intelligence that's in charge of kind of like rebuilding this planet, healing its wounds, making it a habitable place again. And he sees the Imperials are very wicked to the heart, so he's going to help Luke and Leia escape the Imperials. This is their big 100th episode, and you think, oh man, they could do so much better for a 100th issue, right? Actually, I don't know. It's actually a pretty good story. So the final one I want to mention before I talk about all 3 of these is called Kingdom of Ice. Now this is in the Star Wars Weekly 57 through 60, and Luke, Leia, R2, and C-3PO travel to the ice world of Akura 2, where they're attacked by TIE fighters, and you guessed it, they crash again. There's a lot of crash landings in these comic books. I mean, all of them. Luke, Han, and Leia. Everyone's crashing on a planet, man. So anyway, they crash on this planet, and they meet Rebel, Colonel Odin. Or is he a rebel, Colonel Odin? I'll let you find out. So anyway, what do I think real quick about all of these stories? Now, first off, I'm going to mention this once. I'll probably mention it later on. Archie Goodwin is gold. These were so enjoyable. I read these later on, of course, way after they'd come out. Once reprints had started entering the market, I started reading them, and I enjoy them for the simplicity of it. There is so much creativity in these comic books. Love them or hate them. Now, are they silly? Yes. Some of them have very silly ideas that I can't wait to talk about and we can all have fun with. But at the same time, they are so creative and imaginative. Now, we talk about the new canon at this point, 2018, not being as creative, not being as imaginative, not growing, not getting big, not doing something, being something. And yet these old comic books were just bursting with creativity and imagination. I mean, the writers, Archie Goodwin was just going nuts with his imagination was incredible, some of the things. And of course it spilled out into the pages of a comic book, which are always nice. And it was very cool to read. I really enjoyed all three of these. Now, is that to say they're like Star Wars masterpieces? No, probably not. I wouldn't go that far. But I would say they are enjoyable. Now, in Sequart's book, A Galaxy Far, Far Away, where they talk about the comic books, I remember reading an article from someone who grew up in England who said that to him, the Star Wars Weekly was canon and the movies were secondary canon. He always believed that the movies were based off the comic book series because the comic book series kind of came out first, and technically it did. Comic books of Star Wars came out before the movie did. So as a kid, I can see you making that mistake, right? You're thinking, oh wow, they just made this book's selling so much they already made a movie, because you don't know how long it takes to make a movie. You've been reading the comic book for a few months and out comes a movie. You're like, shut up. What a coincidence. So I can see that. A lot of people were captured by the imagination and creativity of Archie Goodwin. And I hope to show you more of those stories at another time. See you later.